Thank you for listening to this broadcast. This is part 2 on the rescue at Black Mountain. And because of the nature of the rapes and assaults, some of us are living with the rape injuries and still surviving the rape injuries. And I'll be honest with you, the individuals responsible for sodomy and indecent assault, simple assault, rape assault, and the criminality of it has not even gone forward yet. And the individual that was responsible for sodomizing me will stand trial. He will be responsible. Thank you for listening to this broadcast here at the Moonlight Lounge. When I share with you, I have worked in radio. I've worked around individuals that have never even considered a sodomy, black or white. When I share with you that these individuals who think they can perpetrate a victim anally, rectally, the rectal image, when I say that the surgical procedures that were done to save my life and save the lives of the people around me. We have several injuries right now. And what I'm going to share with you is every individual that's responsible for sodomy and rape, there will be justice. It'll be served. And listen, just because the victims couldn't speak out years ago doesn't mean that the victims aren't going to have an opportunity to share share. When I say strangulation, rapes, assaults, Thank God the state of Pennsylvania is listening to the rape victims. Thank God they're taking time to listen to the rape victims and survivors, because in 1976 there were rape victims that are just now coming forward. There are rape victims from 1996 that are just coming forward. There are rape victims from 2006 that are coming forward. There are rape victims from 2016 that are coming forward. There are survivors and rape victims everywhere. So there's a whole larger community here of rape victims and survivors and families than you think. And because Pennsylvania is listening, and because we've been writing letters about these assault crimes, this isn't like us trying to, let me try to put it to you guys, like the rescue on Black Mountain happened in North Carolina. These are true accounts of rapes and assaults that led us to literally being rescued on Black Mountain, and a tow truck driver and in AAA, whenever some of us had fell from the tow truck, and normally, under normal circumstances, that the vehicle would have had an oil change. Under normal circumstances, our vehicles would not be stranded on highways with no gas. That's why I know it's a sodomy case. The victims come home with all these gastric issues. And when you assess the injuries over the period of the last, 1976, 1996, 86, when you assess the injuries over this period, how many missing persons cases, it's not hard to, there are all kinds of indicators. There is no excuse for rape. There's no excuse for sodomy. There's no excuse for any of it. When I share with you why some of the victims are right now finally getting recovery, the individuals responsible for every rape, in every place where we were raped, whether it be at Edinburgh University, whether it be on top of Mandy's Pizza, whether it be in Apalachicola, Florida, every individual that caused those rapes from over here on East Locust Street. Listen, when I tell you that we're living in end times, there's an end of the rapes and humiliation of these victims. Because see, you guys understand what happened. When I share with you, that when you see the images of Christopher and Channon, when you see these images, think about what happened here. These stories are very relevant to the victims and survivors and the families. And when I look at these images and I think about Adam Walsh, and you think about all the victims over the course of the last, 1976 going back, why we contacted the Hunt, why we contact John Walsh, why we contact individuals that can help us put the story back together, put our lives back together, because our lives are not ever going to be the same. That's the truth. Our lives are never going to be the same. Our lives are not ever been the same since we were raped. I was raped just like Christopher. I was sodomized. So it's bone chilling for me to recognize even the thought that when I say to you what Christopher and Channon endured, it is bone chilling. It is bone chilling. And you know what makes it worse? Is that by the time I got to Beaver, June 1st, 2016, June 1st, 2016, days before Addie Huzak had been murdered. She was murdered the same way. This is the criminality of the rape and sodomy. And someone can say, well, it's homosexual. No. Because right prior to that, none of us even thought. We didn't really think about the issue on marriage. Many of us didn't even think and consider that by the time you get down to Tennessee, by the time you get down to Kentucky, and you hear the story of Kim Davis, how Kim Davis went to jail. She went to jail for doing the right thing. And this is what I see, and many of you see this, and it is unthinkable that when you have leaders that are saying that the United States is not a Christian country, sir, I hope you take back your statements. Because at least you have Kim Davises out there that's taking a stand. At least you know for a fact, even if it's just a handful of individuals that are taking a stand against rape, or taking a stand, even if it's just a handful of us, it's still a majority in a lot of ways, because some of us are speaking in behalf of the voice of the voiceless in the wilderness. When I say that many of those rape victims were led into the woods, many of those victims, if those victims are alive, if they're home with their families, thank you, Lord Almighty. Because many of us barely got home. Many of us barely got home. And when I say they led us into the woods, that in itself shares, listen, do not go out there on your own, number one. You got to go out with a team. And number two, when you're working with bounty and sheriff's departments, please, please, please know. It is imperative that you walk and you go together as a team. Rescues, when I share with you about the rescue on Black Mountain, when I share with you how police officers and state troopers need to respond differently, when I share with you that maybe some of us might be led into something, I believe that whatever happened to this man in a Jaguar, whatever happened to these victims, there's all kinds of leads. Now, where these leads go, that's why you have to work with a team. You cannot go out there by yourselves. And listen, justice will be served. I believe wholeheartedly for the families and victims who have been assaulted, they will get justice. It's just when you know how to work with a team and you understand that at some point, if these cases aren't solved, they will be. There's a lot of mystique around these cases. It's very relevant. I've been on a bounty. I've worked with detectives. I understand why a lot of families want to go out and find out answers. But it's better. Listen to the sheriffs. Listen to the deputies that work these cases. And please make sure, if you have any questions or concerns, call your county sheriff's department. Do not go out there and on your own and try to figure these cases out. Please know that. Please know, for your own safety, don't go out there and not know how to work a case. Please don't do that. Work with the county sheriff's department. Work with the police officers. Please, please, please. It's your lives. It's your safety issues. It's all these things. When it comes to rape and assault cases, it's a matter of life and death. Please know that, okay? Thank you for listening.